JB Cycles with update on April the 7th. So finally we are seeing some weakness in the S&P. So question is, are we now in the middle of a ABC corrective pullback, or do we squeeze up and backtest this broken trend line and make a bigger topping formation? Both is possible, but this is really not the thing that is important right now, because here's my 3.5-year cycle, and currently we are in the middle of the very bullish phase that I have colored green. And in this phase you should not worry about pullbacks, corrections. Here it's mostly about just buy and hold. But if you go back, let's see, in 2006 we had a big correction early in this phase. We had a pretty bad correction in 2010, and of course the COVID crash was right in the beginning of this phase. And in this current bullish phase we had the big correction last fall. But here my trading rules say shorting is forbidden until we reach the end of this bullish phase around November, December, and then mostly the bull markets top a bit later than this green phase, as we see. So around November, December, that's where you should start to look for a topping formation. So right now we shouldn't worry about this coming correction. Again, this is the wavelets for S&P in daily data, and in this very strong trending phase with low volatility, it's very difficult to see the cycles and interpret the market correctly. So it could either be that we are in the middle of an ABC correction, or we need a bigger topping formation first. But as I showed last weekend, we had too many days above the 20-day moving average, but now finally we broke below it. But we also have the 50-day moving average, and we are now over 100 trading days above, and odds doesn't favor much more upside here before we have a pullback below the 50-day moving average. But at this point, as we see, there's no guarantee we start the correction right now. We could rally many more weeks before this correction finally comes. I have the VIX, my wavelets for the VIX, and these wavelets have been a bit confusing recently, but right now it tells it. The wavelet interpretation of the VIX says the VIX, of course, is here. The VIX has a wavelet going up, and if we invert it for the S&P, the wavelet is going down, just as the S&P should go down. And the projection from this indicator tells me, so we are here in red, and I have a scenario here, a channel. It suggests we should have started a ABC corrective move, and it is bearish into around April the 16th, but it could also be later at the end of April. So look for a sideways or bearish move for another maybe 2 weeks, but it should be nothing very bad. It shouldn't end the bull market. It's just a correction or a pullback in the middle of a bull market, and then we should continue the uptrend. So for the Dow Jones industrial hourly data, it's still a bit confusing. Is the old 2-week oscillation still working, or has it shifted here in yellow in the background? I'm not quite sure. We had a disturbance here. I think this was where we had the Nvidia earnings. The market was a bit hesitant, and we had a possible disturbance. I think it was here with the Fed decision. So can't rule out that these news-related events disturbed my my oscillations. So possibly, well, looking at the actual wavelets down here, it looks like we have completed some kind of a smaller ABC corrective move. This is maybe a A, and we are about to start a B, and then we could have the final C going down. So it doesn't look very bearish short term here. And possible 10-week cycle interpretation here. This looked like a 10-week cycle low, although very early. So I speculated, was this the beginning of a new 10-week cycle? Well, now with this weakness, it looks more like we are about to make the 10-week cycle here a bit late. And I don't think this looks completed. It looks like a A, we need a bounce B, and the final C down. So that would make it a very late 10-week cycle. Yeah, that's very possible. Sorry, I'm not that much help in this video. Short term, I really can't say how this will end, but it should be just a minor correction in the middle of a bull market. Also, we had a strong geomagnetic storm a couple of weeks ago, and that favored the upside for a couple of weeks, and then we should have a bigger correction. And we are now approaching the time where we should turn bearish, but there's still room to squeeze up to make to test the all-time high and make a bigger topping formation, and then the correction could go into May. So just speculating. I really don't have a good setup for anything here, but you should buy the dips, but first I would prefer to see the market dip below the 50-day moving average. That's the orange line here, so do not need much downside to break it. But in the next 1 or 2 weeks, that would be my preferable scenario. We have made an A move down. We should have a stagnant bounce B the next couple of days, and then finish down with a C move, and then we could start a new uptrend cycle. So let's see. See you in the next one.